Bianca Belair blasts fan theories about Jade Cargill's attack. Ace Austin talks Chris Bey. During her segment with Bianca Belair on last week's episode of WWE SmackDown, Naomi confessed to attacking Jade Cargill. Following the show, Belair noted that the dissolution of their group had deeply saddened her. In a recent TikTok video, Belair addressed fans who thought she was the one who attacked Cargill off-air. The caption of the video reads, "It's crazy some of y'all really thought I would do some S***T like that. All the made-up evidence and think pieces y'all wrote on here tainted my whole Elimination Chamber win. Felt like I was going crazy and felt guilty for anything I did." During a recent appearance on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast, Ace Austin discussed Chris Bey's recovery from his serious neck injury. Bey shared a video in mid-February where he could stand and walk on his own. He also thanked his fans for their support. You can check out some highlights from the podcast below. On Bey's video where he walks, if everybody out there would have been able to see him on day one, that video would have been even more powerful. I went to the hospital with him immediately after the accident, and I stayed by his side every moment that they would let me for 2 weeks. I didn't leave Detroit. I didn't go nowhere. I didn't do nothing. I stayed right there with him. The toughest parts of it, I literally have goosebumps talking about it right now. He has such a strength. They told him he had a 5 to 10% chance of walking again. I remember when he got that news, it brought him down just a little bit, but he did not let it pull him under. On Bey's video where he walks, if everybody out there would have been able to see him on day one, that video would have been even more powerful. I went to the hospital with him immediately after the accident, and I stayed by his side every moment that they would let me for 2 weeks. I didn't leave Detroit. I didn't go nowhere. I didn't do nothing. I stayed right there with him. The toughest parts of it, I literally have goosebumps talking about it right now. He has such a strength. They told him he had a 5 to 10% chance of walking again. I remember when he got that news, it brought him down just a little bit, but he did not let it pull him under. He totally pushed that aside, and he said, "There's no way that's going to be me." I just admire that so much. I've been able to see updates, and I've been able to see the progress up to this point, so it wasn't a surprise to me when he posted that or anything. Of course, I knew about it. But seeing every step of the way so far, it's only been 3 months since that happened. Almost 4 months since that accident, and he's already on his feet. That's baffling. His strength and his determination is so inspirational. I knew that he was strong, and I knew he was capable of anything. But this is what we call putting proof. You never know what somebody is capable of until you really put them in a tough spot like that. You really put him in the trenches, and he proved what he's made of. It really inspired me to be more than just talk. You got to put your money where your mouth is, man. If you say you're strong, if you say you're capable, you got to do it when the time comes. He didn't tell me he was going to post that video or anything like that, but it brought me to tears when I saw it, especially on his birthday. I bet you that he had that goal in his head. I bet you he was thinking to himself, my birthday is coming up. When it's time to make the statement, I got to make the statement big. What way he did that? So powerful, standing up at his own 2 feet and walking towards that camera and thanking everybody for the outpouring of love and support, which in itself was baffling. When this whole thing happened with Chris, he got to feel it, and it blew my mind. Again, it's never not surprising to see how much people are willing to do to really lend a hand. It's so beautiful. I'm so glad that he's back home, and I'm so glad that he's doing so good and feeling so good. I can't wait to see him soon. He's already on his feet, so there's no way he's not going to die everything he can to at least come back to the locker room. At least come back and maybe be on camera and say a couple words. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of time for him to get back in the ring. But I bet you sooner than later, he's going to be right in front of that camera, again, doing what he loves. Backstage news on WWE segment where Naomi revealed she was Jade Cargill's attacker. The segment with Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill on the March 7th edition of Friday Night SmackDown received heavy praise within WWE. The segment began with Bianca Belair confronting Naomi, during which the former Trinity claimed that Cargill didn't care about Bianca Belair. This led to a round of bickering until Belair told Naomi to stop and ask. Bianca Belair reacts with a one-word message after incident with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Bianca Belair has reacted to the turn of events on this week's WWE Raw. She was involved in a confrontation with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, where the reigning women's world champion slapped both women. Sky won the women's world championship in the main event of last week's Monday Night Raw. She dethroned Ripley after the Eradicator got into a heated exchange with Belair, who was at ringside for the match. Belair became the #1 contender for the Women's World Championship after winning the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Then on X/Twitter, Bianca Belair sent a one-word message after the exchange between herself, Ripley, and Sky. Belair is also involved in the Naomi Jade Cargill drama. The Storm was ambushed by a mystery attacker last November, forcing her out of action for several months. In her absence, Belair teamed up with Naomi to defend the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships before losing them to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Fast forward to the Elimination Chamber, Toronto Premium Live event, where Cargill returned and attacked Naomi. This past Friday, on SmackDown, Naomi admitted that she was the mastermind behind Cargill's attack before the latter once again laid out the now former Women's Tag Team Champion. Fast forward to the Elimination Chamber, Toronto Premium Live event, where Cargill returned and attacked Naomi. This past Friday on SmackDown, Naomi admitted that she was the mastermind behind Cargill's attack before the latter once again laid out the now former Women's Tag Team Champion. Bianca Belair's first comment on issues between Jade Cargill and Naomi. It's really rough. When last we saw Bianca Belair on Friday SmackDown, she walking away as Jade Cargill headed to the ring to kick Naomi's ass for the second time in less than a week. That was because Naomi confessed to attacking Cargill last November and then called Belair out of her name when the EST wasn't grateful she'd done so. Belair, who is set to face WWE Women's World Champion Io Sky at WrestleMania 41, was asked about breaking up the Big Three and what's next for her and Cargill on ESPN's First Take today, March 10th. She replied, "It's really rough. This is actually my very first time talking about it since it happened on Friday. I form a bond with both of these women. Jade and I elevated the women's tag team division. She was taken out. Naomi stepped in so that all that hard work wouldn't go to waste. And we bonded, but come to find out Naomi was the one behind taking Jade out. It's very heartbreaking for me. I'm actually more hurt than anything. And it's really tough because I just won Elimination Chamber, and I'm supposed to be going to WrestleMania and having a big title match. But it's really hard to focus on that. So it's kind of bittersweet for me. I'm trying to be excited about this Elimination Chamber win, but I'm also hurt by the breakdown of the Big Three because we were doing amazing things and really representing. So it's just a really heartbreaking time for me right now." Interesting to note that for at least half of her appearance on First Take, Belair was not in character. She was for that first question, though, even as WWE may be blurring the work/shoot lines around Cargill after reports of Jade having behind-the-scenes issues with other members of the women's roster last week. Another thing Bianca does during the interview is plug her appearance on Raw from Madison Square Garden tonight. So we'll see what happens in this storyline then. Bianca Belair, Naomi, Jade Cargill, crew receive praise for segment on March 7th. WWE SmackDown Fightful Select is reporting the segment with Bianca Belair and Naomi that also included Jade Cargill on last Friday's WWE SmackDown received rave reviews and heavy praise backstage. The report notes that Ioannis Philippides was the writer for the segment and TJ Wilson was the producer. It was also said that one